Okay, this is ZD Moto Life here. It's been a little while. Welcome to my new to me 2018 Goldwing. Let's adjust that a little bit. Alright, here we go. Be an interesting ride home. Got some weather. Alright, we're going to talk about a few things. I'm sure one of the biggest questions is why get rid of the Rebel? And I put all that work into it to get it just right. Truth is, the Rebel is a really good bike. And if I'm being completely honest, it looks a hell of a lot better than this Goldwing does. Don't get me wrong, the new Goldwings do have a look to them. And they're decently good looking. Especially when compared to the old counterparts. But that Rebel, man, that had the cruiser charm. I really love that bike. But I realized I'm starting to do a lot of much longer touring than I thought I would originally. Inner city, interstate stuff. So I needed something to meet my needs. Rebel was pretty good, but most I could do on it was about 300 miles a day, maybe 400 if I got lucky. I did a blitz where I did literally as many miles as I could in a day, and I think it ended up being like something like 700 miles, and I could not walk the next day. I was in so much pain, and that was even with that Corbin custom seat. The seat itself is awesome, those kinds of things. The mods that I did to it gave it legs, but not long enough legs. Let me put it this way. Without that mods, that bike was a 100-mile bike for me. That was it. That's all I was doing. With the mods, it's about a 300 to 400-mile bike for me. This, with no mods, it came with the Clockworks windshield. With no mods other than this windshield, about 800 to 900-mile bike for me. I have a gel pad whenever I want to push up to 1,000. This bike is an answer to what my needs. You might also notice that I have a clutch again. Of all the bikes to get a DCT, it seems like the Goldwing is the perfect DCT bike. What 2018 Goldwing got kind of famous for having that DCT. Truth of the matter was, there were a couple of things that led me away from getting another DCT. I do recommend DCTs. I do. I do not. There were some situations with the Rebel that would cause it to shift at bad times, or cause it to drop RPMs whenever I didn't like it. And you had to reprogram the DCT every once in a while to make sure that transmission was shifted smoothly. It did not take long for it to develop some quirks, I'll put it that way, and how it shifted. I missed the clutch a lot. So, knowing that I went with this, I was looking real hard at other bikes. I was looking real hard at Harley. I was looking real hard at Indian. Harley's right now, this is 2025, April, May, early May. Harleys have especially used ones, have taken a plummet. You can get a pretty damn good deal on a Harley right now if you've got the cash for it. But not this good of a deal. This is a 2018 with about 17,000 miles on it, maybe I think 18,000 miles on it. And the deal on this thing. I won't say exactly how much, just because I don't want to give anything away, but I'll put it this way: it was listed at $13,000. $13,000 for a 2018 Goldwing with only 18,000 miles on it. I mean, that's a deal. I couldn't pass it up. It was just too good. And then not only that, I was able to get about 90% of what I owed on the Rebel, if not even a little more than that. I was able to make the deal work. I have some history with the Goldwing anyways. My grandfather rode Goldwings across the country. Specifically a Goldwing. I think it was a 96 Aspensada or whatever that high-end Goldwing trim was. And I remember whenever I was a kid, sitting on the back of that thing. I have a picture of it. If I remember, I'll put it up now so you can see that picture. And then I also remember that whenever it came time for me to start driving, and I got my driver's license, my grandfather tried to sell me that Goldwing. Of course, my parents said, hell no, you're not giving a brand new driver a Goldwing. But he tried to sell, he wanted me to buy that Goldwing. He wanted me to have that thing and to ride it around. I don't even think he was going to charge me about $500 for the bike. He really wanted me on that motorcycle. Well, I'm on one now. He passed a while back, but I think he's happy looking down, seeing me on Goldwing. Alright, so comparison. I'm not going to go through a lot of details right now as far as the comparisons go, only simply because I'll save that for a full-length video later on. But long and short, obviously the comparisons you could probably guess are probably correct. This is more comfortable, is surprisingly almost as fuel efficient as the Rebel was. I think the best I ever got on the Rebel was about 45 miles to the gallon, and what am I doing right now? 43.2. I mean, come on. This bike weighs 300 pounds more than the Rebel, and I'm getting almost the same gas mileage. I just don't get that. Fuel tank range is a lot better. I could go about 220, 230 miles on the tank on this thing, maybe even more. Whereas on the Rebel, I was 120 looking for a gas station. So I'm literally 100 miles more on this bike of range. It's comfortable as all get out. The seat is the stock seat, and there's a lot of people that complain about these stock seats, but honestly, I think comparison is the thief of joy. And what I mean by that is that a lot of people get caught up in what is the best possible seat you can have, and they compare the stock seat to the best possible seat. Whenever in actuality, I'm finding that the stock seat is perfectly fine for my needs. We're going to be taking a stop up here for this, and let this truck go. Okay, well, maybe not. I was trying to be nice. Yeah, stock seat's great on this so far, and it the way it creases at the back, it allows my tailbone to rest. I don't even need to do a tailbone cutout on it. Love having Apple CarPlay up front. There at the end, I know I didn't do any videos on it outside of just showing it on the bike, but not actually being on the bike with it. I had that zoom mode that I went ahead and would let go with the bike. I think they threw in an extra $200 or $300 on the trade-in. And at first I regretted that, but then after being on here and having Apple CarPlay up, this thing is just nice. I'm thoroughly enjoying having Apple CarPlay. This bike has globes of power. I mean, this thing, I could just drop it in any gear and get going. It is a fun bike. I thoroughly enjoy this thing. Now, I'll tell you one thing that I am thoroughly enjoying is the wind protection. I've said it in previous videos, I have a very tall upper body, And I had a windshield that I ordered for the Rebel, and that was a great windshield. But it made the bike look so ugly. And actually, whenever air would hit the top part of that windshield, it would lift the front end of that bike a little bit. And that was causing some stability issues in the freeway. And I'm going to leave some feedback with GP Plastics about that, Gustafson's Plastics about that. I am not that impressed with the performance of that windshield, if I'm being completely honest. Sure, it blocked the wind, but it caused several issues, one of which was light front, the other of which, why are we going 35 miles per hour? The other of which was the buffeting. It's tremendously bad buffeting, as a matter of fact, anything over 60 miles per hour. Now, maybe that's because I'm taller than the average rider, and it was putting my head in a pocket of buffeted air on top of my head, but I'll tell you what, with this windshield they got on here, sure, it needs to be cleaned and maybe even buffed out. But this Clockworks windshield, I'm not getting anything on my helmet outside of what's behind me. I love this thing. It's so quiet on this motorcycle. I still wear hearing protection. I highly recommend you do the same, but it is so quiet compared to that Rebel. Flickability. Surprisingly enough, because of the engine and the layout on this thing, Honda keeps the weight extremely low on this motorcycle. This thing is pretty agile. Now, if you've done your research on a Goldwing, you already know that. You already know that this thing is famously flickable. Now, I will say this, it is heavy. It's not as heavy as I feared, though. So this is a base model Goldwing. This is not the full-blown Tourer. This is not even the DCT version. So the DCT version of the base model in 2018 gets reverse. This does not. No reverse on this bike whatsoever. I was worried about having to back this bike up. About having to walk it back, and that was not I'm moving it right now with my feet. It's not as big of a concern as I thought it'd be. By the way, if you are ever at Jones in 1960, that's where I'm sitting right now. This little Black Rifle coffee here. Every Friday morning I go here and have a cup of coffee right before work. The only mod I've done to this bike so far is literally add the grit puppies. That's it. This thing is stock otherwise, and I'm probably keeping it stock for a long while at least. So if you're looking for a mod video on the Goldwing, I'd recommend Chris Caliente, Grisman's Garage. There's a lot of others out there that you could take a look at, but not going to be me. I'm probably not modding this bike much. This is going to be a workhorse. I'm putting a lot of miles on this thing. It's my daily driver. So smooth. This motorcycle, I know everybody says that. Everybody says it, but I just cannot emphasize how smooth this bike is. It's just insane. And the sounds that this thing makes, and I'm not talking about exhaust sounds, because the exhaust is muffled to hell, and I really don't care. I like the quietness on the speed. The engine sounds, that hum that you get, that's almost like a low-tuned supercharger hum, even though, of course, there's no super in this thing. It's just so nice. It sounds like a little supercar. The brakes on this thing are outstanding. They are definitely better than the Rebel. So what is the Rebel better at? Honestly, yeah, maneuverability for sure. I mean, this thing is heavier. It's 300 pounds heavier. So for sure, maneuverability. The Rebel's better looking by a long shot. So if looks really matter to you, I'd look at the Rebel first over this thing. Commuting, the Rebel's probably a little bit better of a commuter, with it being easier to handle. I don't know about the long trips, absolutely not. The Goldwing is king on the long trips. It does a good job of commuting. And the twisties, I actually think I prefer this Goldwing in the twisties. But that may just be me saying I prefer the clutch over the DCT and the twisties, if I'm being completely honest. One nice thing about the Goldwing over the Rebel that I will not miss is no chain maintenance. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for no chain maintenance. There's shaft driven on this sucker, and that lady next to me is watching her phone. It's shaft driven on this sucker, and I am so happy about that. So happy. It's a fun bike. If you get a chance to ride one on a demo day, I caution against it because you're going to very likely want one. I love this thing so much, and the color is what sold me. So whenever we get to the house, I'll jump off the bike and I'll show you the color and everything. So, I've had a lot of people reach out and ask about the Rebel. And the long and short of it is, if I wasn't riding as far as I am, I would probably have kept the Rebel. But for only $2,000, $3,000 more than what I paid for that Rebel out the door, I could get a Goldwing. That's really not a choice the average person would have trouble making, in my opinion. Price on these things is one of the only major prohibitors to get into a Goldwing. These things brand new are $25,000, $26,000. By the time you're out the door on a base model Goldwing, you're probably $30,000, $31,000. So now that the used ones have started dropping prices, if you weren't looking at one before, maybe it's time. On that note, I've got some Rebel parts. If you are interested and you want a windscreen from GP Plastics, shoot me up. I'll send it your way. The T-Rex windshield I also have as well for the Rebel. And remember, these are for the Rebel 1100 Tour model. You have to have the fairing from Honda installed on the bike. There's two fairings from Honda. This is the bagger fairing, so the touring model fairing. So if you happen to have that motorcycle and you're in the Houston area and you want a windshield, hit me up. I've also got the stock seat still, so if you need a stock seat for the Rebel for whatever reason, I know that, actually, here's a good point. The earlier Rebels before 2025 had a seat on it with less foam. And this is a 2025 seat with more foam. So if you have a stock seat still on your 2024 or older Rebel 1100, this seat is probably more comfortable, and come get it. I'm not really asking anything for it. If I got to drive somewhere, I may ask for some gas money, but that's about it. Yeah, shoot me up if you're interested. I also have some NC750X parts. It's starting to rain. NC750X parts as well. And just email me about those. I got to see what I actually have in stock or at the garage still. And I also have a wheel chock. I don't know if it's big enough for this bike. If it's not, I have a wheel chock I'm going to be getting rid of as well. But we'll see about that. And I apologize for the lack of content lately. I've had a bit of a life shift. Nothing dramatic or anything like that. I've just had to get some priorities straight in my head. Things in my head are not always good. But now that I got some things working in the right way, I'm hoping to film some of these longer rides. This weekend I am doing a full moon ride this Saturday. It's going to be a night ride, so I'm going to try to video that. And we'll see what we get out of it. Oh, come on, garage. Pardon me, stupid garage door. You kind of see the reflection in there. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to park outside real quick while we take a look at the bike. Yeah. I'm going to stop here for a few minutes. My wife's going to be behind me shortly, but we can stop for a few minutes. All right, here she is. This is a 2018 Honda Goldwing manual. Base model, you see it doesn't have the fog lights on it. I'm not sticker bombing this thing. I told kiddo that ain't happening. It's nice. I really like this motorcycle. The saddlebags are good size. Big, as a matter of fact, the combined liters for this motorcycle is 30 liters per bag, or 60 liters total. On the Rebel, it was 36 liters for both bags. So this storage is significantly more. It's a good bike. Smooth, powerful. It does everything I need it to do. All right, we're gonna pull in. Oh, there's another thing right there. I had the stock Rebel exhaust for whatever reason. If you want a stock exhaust, if you have an aftermarket one and you're getting rid of your Rebel and you want to take it off, come get this stock exhaust, put it on your bike. But that would be it. Oh, saddlebag didn't close all the way. There it goes. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you for tuning back in. Sorry it's been a little bit. I'm hoping to get back into the regular habit of producing some videos. Like I said, this Saturday, so I'm not sure of the date. It's second Saturday of May 2025. I'm going to be doing a full moon ride, and I'll probably be videoing that, and I'll be with my CMA chapter. Thank you all for tuning in, and see y'all later.